A brutal body cam video showing a handcuffed inmate being fatally beaten by corrections officers at a New York prison. And we want to warn you that this video is disturbing. It is very hard to watch.
The body cam video also shows several corrections officers standing around as this is happening, doing nothing to stop this attack on Brooks. New York's Attorney General Letitia James just releasing the video of the beating. CNN's Jason Carroll is following these developments for us. So Jason, what more do we know about what happened here?
Well, you just saw some of it there, Erica. It's really very difficult video to watch. New York's governor has now called for 14 workers there at the Marcy Correctional Facility to be fired. New York's Attorney General Letitia James has opened an investigation into Robert Brooks' death to try and find out what happened here, what led up to this. Her office has reviewed the body cam videos, calling what she saw shocking. Now, we again want to caution viewers, the video is terribly disturbing. We're going to show some of it to you now. The body cam video shows what happened actually on December 9th. That's when Robert Brooks was transferred to the Marcy Correctional Facility there in Utica, New York. It's a medium security state prison. He was transferred from another facility and was taken into the examination room that you see there, carried into the examination room. He is restrained. He appears to be handcuffed behind his back. And then as he's there in the room, he's just randomly beaten by correction officers over the course of several minutes. Once he's there in the room, and again, we're not showing all of the video to you, but some of what we can tell you is that he was punched in the face. He was punched in the stomach. He was punched in the buttocks, punched several times. And at one point, an officer shoves something, it looks like some sort of a rag or something, in his mouth and then lifts him up by the neck. We see there on the video that we were able to see that his face is bloodied. He appears to be weak at one point, can't even stand on his own. He's dragged to another part of the room because he cannot stand on his own. Again, that was on December 9th. He died the very next day on December 10th. He was 43 years old. He'd been serving a 12-year sentence for assault. Again, New York's Attorney General has opened an investigation into his death to ensure what she called transparency and accountability.
As in every case, the attorneys and investigators in my office are conducting an exhaustive review of the facts and the evidence. As Attorney General, you have my word that we will use every possible tool available to us to investigate this death thoroughly and swiftly.
So let me give you an update in terms of what's happened as a result of what went on there. 13 employees, including correction officers, sergeants, and a nurse, have been suspended without pay. The labor union that actually represents these correction officers had said this in part: "What we witnessed is incomprehensible, to say the least, and is certainly not reflective of the great work that the vast majority of our membership conducts every day." An attorney for Brooks' family has also weighed in on this, saying, "As expected, watching the horrific and violent final moments of Robert's life was devastating for his loved ones and will be disturbing to anyone who views the video following its release by the Attorney General's office. We will not rest until we have secured justice for Robert's memory and safety for prisoners at Marcy Correctional Facilities." Brooks' family, of course, is now awaiting the outcome of the AG's investigation. All this now as they make funeral arrangements. Guys, back to you.
All right, Jason Carroll, thanks for that reporting. Let's bring in former NYPD detective Michael Alcazar now. And Michael, thanks for being here with us. Look, we're just getting our first look at this very disturbing video. As you see it, as you hear these new details that we're getting, what is standing out to you?
It's just horrible to watch. I'm watching it. I'm getting angry watching it. I can't believe the excessive force that these corrections officers use. It was inhumane. It was unnecessary. I mean, really disturbing to watch.
Inhumane, unnecessary, as Jason just mentioned, the union called it incomprehensible. The other thing, and Jessica and I were talking about this during the break, that stood out to us is that there were cameras there, right? And they must have known there were cameras there, which brings up, I guess, two questions. Number one, this happened with the cameras on. What could happen with the cameras off? And also the fact that this was happening with the cameras on and they knew the cameras were on. What does that suggest to you? That they would potentially think that this was the correct course of action?
It could be two scenarios. It could be that they totally forgot they had body cams on. In the heat of the moment, they seemed pretty angry, the court officers, and they lost their mind. And the other thing is maybe they thought it was justified. I'm not saying it was, but maybe they thought it was justified, their action, because the prisoner was resisting. What's more disturbing is that there were sergeants on the scene that didn't stop their actions. You're a supervisor. You have to control your corrections officer. When you see it's getting out of hand and excessive, they should have stepped in and stopped them immediately. You can even see one of them looking at the camera, which to me acknowledged that he knew there was a body cam. So it could be some kind of training flaw, or again, they just forgot that the body cams were on, or they just didn't care.
Are they culpable too, the people who stood to the side and didn't intervene? Will they be held accountable legally?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You are a uniformed member of the service. If there's excessive violent force being used, especially as a supervisor, but anybody in a uniform capacity should stop the officers from doing further damage, further injury to the prisoner.
Is it your sense that this is more widespread than we know?
I'm not sure if it's widespread. I mean, the video sure makes it look like it's pretty common, like they're pretty comfortable doing this, especially with a supervisor there. So I would definitely have the AG look into it to see if it's something, hopefully that's not common practice, but two sergeants, I believe, were on the scene, and so many corrections officers, and nobody stopped this from happening. It could be something that they really have to investigate and find out if it is widespread.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Michael Alcazar, thank you so much for giving us some context around that. We appreciate it.